Hello, my name is Luke, and I did my project on using the virtual machine. And the first problem I ran into with the virtual machine is that the computer that I originally did the fog server on, when I booted it up in Hyper-V mode, it did not work. So this took about like an hour to fix. And the solution I came up with was zipping the file, uploading it to the box, and once it was uploaded to the box, I was able to go into another computer, grab the zip file, bring it down, unzip it, and this is the file that I unzipped, and then install it in here by pretty much just importing it, which is this function right here. So once I got that installed, I was able to open up the fog server, and this is the fog server that I got. This is the dashboard. The dashboard pretty much just gives you a general idea of what is happening. This just tells you the user that's signed in, the IP address that you need to get into this fog server, the load average and system uptime, 4 days, 8 hours, 35 minutes, the storage root activity, the storage node, disk usage, and this is pretty much imaging over the last 30 days. You can see that I did an image between the 11th and 14th, the 29th and the December 2nd, and one today. Today is December 8th, and I created an image today. So the next tab is the users. Pretty much what the users are. To show up the users, you need to click list all users. This is kind of important, so, just because you can tell what people can get into, what their login information is, and who can get in, who cannot. Right here is the fog one. This is pretty much the start of it. The first one that you log in with fog is the username and password is password. And then I created one for myself, and I gave myself a friend named is Luke, and the password Panther $. Then I made a system admin one, and I just named it Big Boss, and that was it. And to create a new user, you just pretty much go to create new user and a name here, a friendly name, and the two passwords. The password that you were going to use, and you put it in twice just for security reasons. Create new password. So this one is the hosts that I have created. There's right now there's 4 hosts that are working. The Golden Boy one was since I didn't create this fog machine on this one, I had to import it. This one does not work. So right here, I had a final deploy 1, final test 1 gold, and the final test 2 with the Ubuntu. Pretty much I used 2 OSs. I used a Windows OS and I used a Linux OS. I used Ubuntu. Which I wanted to go a little bit further and try to see if another OS would work just as well and if it was the same process. Pretty much to create a new host, you just go to the host name, you get to go to the primary MAC address. This is the most important part. And the way you would get the primary MAC address is you would go into here. You would go into one of the images that you want, right click it, go to settings. You have to go to add hardware. The legacy network adapter, and once you have the legacy network adapter, you go to here. You want to install it on NAT because this is running off of the NAT. Hit the plus button, go to advanced features, go to the static IP, then you put in your IP address, not your IP address, your MAC address here. Once you have that downloaded, you can go back. Once you have that put in, you go to load the Mac vendors, and you just put in the same MAC address in, and that would start the process of the Pixie boot. You have to go to the host image to select an option. This is where you select what you want the name of it to be. And yeah, this is pretty much creating the host. This is not the first thing you have to do though, but here's all the hosts I have installed. These are the next thing is groups. I created I think one group called Final Test Group. There's no members part of it. I think this is mostly used for connecting so many machines together and then deploying an image to it. It would just make it a lot easier, keep everything more organized. It's used as an organization technique that you can use, a function that you can use, and just deploy images to it, and it keeps them all in the same group. And to create a new group, you just go to create a new group, put a name in, description, the kernel arguments, and the group primary disk usage. And then you hit add. And the next thing is image. Here are all the images I have. This is the first thing you need to do to start the imaging process. You have to go to images and create the new image. But here are all the images I have. I have this one that was made on December 1st. This one made on December 8th. This one made on November 8th. These are the 2 most recent ones that I used. This one is the Windows server, Windows OS, server OS, and this one is the Ubuntu OS. And this is pretty much what you got to do to start it, to create new image. put the image name in, a description if you want. You want to keep that default. The operating system, you want to go here and you want to pick the operating system for OS. Since I don't have Windows Server 2016, you can do other. And for Linux, you got to hit the Linux one. And if you're OS isn't up, you just hit other. You got to do the imaging path. I don't think you really have to mess anything with that. So you want single disk resizable, partition, and you want to hit add. And that pretty much gives you got to make the image first, which sounds kind of weird. Then go to host, create the host one, and then this is how how you would deploy an image or upload an image to it. Next thing to go, you want to go to storage. The storage nodes. Excuse me. Okay, yeah. The storage nodes will allow you to either create more storage. I just have the default number here. I didn't really mess with this. This was not anything. I couldn't really find too much about how to use these. I'm guessing that this would mostly be used not for a virtual machine. If you were trying to trying to create more clients or create another node that wasn't on a virtual network. You're actually doing it on physical machines and not virtual machines. The next thing is snap-ins. So I have one snap-in that I tried to attempt to do. That's the Google Chrome snap-in. Pretty much what you gotta do if you want to create a new snap-in, you just go to create new snap-in and go through the steps that are going to be shown here once I edit the Google Chrome. Google Chrome, you want to put the snap-in name. I have it as Google Chrome. You want the latest Google. I set the description to the latest Google Chrome version. It's just a normal snap-in, nothing too fancy about it. Snap-in template. I didn't really put a snap-in template in. So this is where you want to start putting stuff in. You want to put MSIEXEC to start the download to it. You want to put the /i for the argument. This is where you got to browse your computer and find the zip file. I have the zip file in the downloads right here. Right here. And that's where you would want to put the zip file towards. And once that download, once you got that in, Google Chrome Enterprise Bundle 64 zip, you want to do it as /quiet. What /quiet does is it pretty much installs installs Google Chrome quietly. All it would do is it show a pop-up over in the notifications that you got a image. You got an image. You got Google Chrome installed, and it would install Google Chrome. You want to enable the snap-in, replicate it, sure, reboot, and you want to reboot after install just to make sure everything goes correctly. If Google Chrome needs you to restart the system after it's installed. In the printer, pretty much you can list all the printers that you wanted. I have no printers found. If you want to create a new printer, it's pretty much the same step. Figure out what the printer type of it, the name of it. Gives me an example here. Printer description, the port, and all that stuff. But since I don't have access to printers, I can't really use this function all too much. In the client settings, this pretty much just helps you understand, pretty much update everything. Client updater, update it, directory cleanup, display manager, green fog, host registration, host name changer, power management, printer management, select snap-in client, so update snap-in client, snap-in is enabled as default, and snap-in is enabled. Update it there, task reboot, user cleanup, and user tracker. Just go back to the snap-ins. One of the problems I ran into the snap-ins was that I could not find the client version of Fog to be installed on Windows, and I think at this point in time the Fog server, the Fog image, that Fog project only will install on certain Linux OSs right now. It will not install on Windows or Ubuntu at this point in time. And to be able to use the snap-ins, you have to have the client installed, so that the server can connect to the client and talk back to each other and figure out how the snap-ins work. Because pretty much what you got to do is you got to deploy the snap-ins as the same way you would deploy an image, and it would send it out, and the computer would pick it up and then download it. Then the tasks is the next one, and right now you can see that I guess I have an active task uploading. If you can play it and pause it here. You can cancel by the select task. If there's a task up here, I just click on it. There's a little checkbox you can click, and you hit cancel select task. Or that's another way to delete something. You can see the active tasks here. Lists all the hosts. Shows you all the hosts that I have on this computer. And I guess this is also where you can do capture and deploy an image. You can list all the groups you have. I just have one group. Activate multicast. I can't really do multicast at the moment because I only can have 2 virtual machines up. I can have the Fog server and another, either the imaging that I'm the image, the golden host that I'm trying to image off of, or the deploy an image to the deploy machine that I want to have. And active snap-in tasks, this is where if I would deploy the snap-in, this is where it would show up. And schedule tasks, pretty much same thing. And I guess any reports, I didn't really mess with this. Information was going on with your Fox, leave a report, select an item from the menu, see what the host list will say. It'll just give you all the host MAC addresses that you want, that you have, that you can connect to if you're at your MAC address. And yeah, snap-in log. You can see I have the final. I tried doing to final deploy 1, Google Chrome. I canceled it because I could not get it to work, and you can see that I did this on the 1st of December. And that I guess the complete time I forgot to stop it, and I stopped it today just to make sure, just to lend up free space. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have. And if we go back to the virtual machines, this is the fog server that I created for Ubuntu. This is the image that I captured it off of, and this is the deploy that I deployed it onto. I can show you, click R here, go to settings, and see that I have the legacy adapter installed, advanced features, and show the static IP. And I'll open it up just to make sure that it is working. And here would show you the Ubuntu one that I created. That's Linux and not a Windows one. And it's just bare bones Linux of Ubuntu. It doesn't have anything else installed onto it. This is because it kind of takes a long time for it to upload the image, and I am running out of time. So that is the one. I'll just save the state. And this is the these are the Windows images. This is the image that I captured it off of, and this is the image that I deployed it. And here's the deploy one. This is the deploy one. Yep. In here you can see that I have Firefox installed onto it, and that's how I know the image worked, that it installed the Firefox onto it. And yeah, this is also where I also tried to download install the client. You can see that I installed Fog Project, which doesn't work if you try to upload it and try to open up this file, because it's not a Windows can't run this. It wants you to run it off of Linux, and it has the Linux commands and all that stuff, and it will not work on the Windows. And I could not find the fog server that would allow me to install. These are the ones that they suggested to use to run the client version. But if you see here, if I hit run, next, agree, next, and then hit install, it would go through the whole end, but right when it get to a certain point, it said it would fail. And with the CA certification, I can't figure out what that means, and that it just shows that it was ended prematurely and that it didn't install. And that's how I looked up to see if the install will work and for the client, and it will not. And that was one of the problems I ran with the snap-in. But I created a snap-in that could be used, and it would just show up with a notification like, oh, Google Chrome is installed. But yeah, that is my my final project. I did a Windows upload and deploy, and I did a Ubuntu upload and deploy, and I created a snap-in function and created a group, made some new users, and also just to show you, you can delete a user. Just click on what you want to delete and hit delete. I think this is the one I'm on, so I'm not going to delete it at the point of time, but if I want to delete this one, hit delete. And I hit delete. Okay. You go list all users, and that one will be gone, and only these two are on. Yeah, this is pretty much my final project. I was able to get 2 OSs installed, figure out how to use the snap-in command, and use that line of code. And yeah, that's my final project. Thank you.